everywhere. But I actually bring you on because of a tweet you made that I thought was kind of overlooked, and it was very interesting to me. And the tweet was this right here. You stated, I remember after the last fight, I was in the ring immediately after, standing right next to him. I think you're talking about Bivol. And I spoke to him a little bit. His left eye was pretty messed up. I said from the beginning that was a quick turnaround that favors Arthur. It looks like his eye has not healed completely. Now, we're about a month away. This is a big fight. A lot of people did say that was a quick turnaround. That was a picture, if I'm not mistaken, from the awards. Right? I mean, is this mind games, or is this how you really feel? You feel like, hey, I think.
Listen, I mean, I've never had a bruise that was still there 4 months later. Like I've never had bruises don't last that long. Mm-hmm. So that's telling that he's got that. And it makes sense just because. Number one, like I say, when we were in Saudi Arabia, in the ring right after the fight, I went over to him. I wanted to give my respect to him, and I remember thinking, wow, his eye. I didn't realize how messed up his eye was, and how blue, purple, or whatever. I'm colorblind, but it was black and blue. Mm-hmm. And then when I heard about the fight happening so soon, when I first heard, like when Mark told me we're getting ready to go in February, for like 3 weeks after he told me that, I thought he meant we're fighting somebody else. I didn't think we were fighting Bivol in a rematch that fast. And then I read on the internet, I go, Mark, you talking about we're fighting Bivol again? Like that quick? Like that never happens. That never happens. It used to happen back in the old days, but now for someone to turn around and fight again, I respect it 100%, but it definitely favors us 100%. It favors us, and that picture, seeing him bruised up like that, just solidifies it, verifies it, backs my claim up.
Now, some people were saying that it might have been from sparring or whatnot. You're not buying that. You don't believe that.
That's a pretty big coincidence, and I mean. If it is, it's like, all right, so that's what's getting damaged now. So if he's getting that in sparring, what's he going to get in the fight,
What advantage? So let's just say, is it possible for your body not to be fully healed, so maybe that's why you start getting injured or stuff starts to show more blemishes and stuff like that? What happens? How much time, actually, let me ask this. How much time do you need to recover, especially after the punishment he took? Because he admittedly did say he took punishment in that fight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you need like it's a 4 month turnaround basically, right? October, November, December, January, February. So 4 months. It's basically 4 months later. So that means you only have a couple months to recover because you got to start training again, 8 weeks at least. Ideally. I wouldn't want just 8 weeks of rest and 8 weeks of to start training again. That means you got to start sparring again. You got to abuse your body again. Now granted, it could mean nothing. Ultimately, when the fight happens, we might not see any indication of it at all. But I'm saying it's certainly more possible than if we took 6 months to do the rematch, 8 months to do the rematch. I said from the beginning, and I'm sure I told you the first day, I said the quick turnaround favors us for sure, 100%.
Does that leave you more susceptible to injuries or cuts? Or because I remember some people say like you get a cut, that cut got to heal for a while. You could get easily cut. Can that happen with like bruises like that and things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, your body is what it is. Your body's not meant to get hit, and it's not meant to take that kind of damage and get bruised up and banged up. It doesn't recover quick enough, for to have another fight. I think, but again, it could mean something mentally. He's got it on his mind. I mean, I'm sure he's not a stupid guy. Like he looks in the mirror and he's thinking, man, look at this. I'm getting bruised again. Like, is this what's going to happen now? And is it going to be even worse? Because we did, Arthur did that to him fresh. Now he's coming in damaged already. Now,
and not to
is he
mention,
going to take that damage again?
yeah, and not to mention, in his head, and I've heard him say this, he felt like he has to be more active, which means engaging more, which means trying to put more pressure, landing more shots, which is going to leave him susceptible to getting hit.
Right.
And again, you said if he does that, you believe it is a knockout. Do you believe him looking in the mirror, seeing the bruises and stuff like that, that he'll be less likely to engage, even though he knows he needs to win that way, or more likely?
You know, I would think he'll probably have a plan, right?
Yeah.
And Mike Tyson, like looking really deep into what Mike Tyson always says, like everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah.
That is more true than people could imagine. Like you could be in a fight and planning it out, and you've been planning it for weeks, what you're going to do. And you get in there, as soon as you feel that power and your brain feels like it's got a knife in it, you know, and you're saying, okay, I got this isn't how I pictured it in my head. I have to alter things. You know, the one thing that I think favors us, you know, he's already felt Arthur's power. Now, he felt it. He was moving a lot. So he felt it, and, you know, it is what it is. And I'm not blaming him, but he didn't want to really feel it anymore. You know what I mean? He was moving more than usual. So that's fresh in his mind. And when he gets hit again, and I can tell you this, Arthur is different this camp, and I like it. He's more intent on doing damage. And he's more focused. You know, we talked about it the other day, right before he left. We had to talk about a certain strategy and that I was, you know, hoping for. And he's like, yes, this is what I want to do. And I go, yeah, that's what I want you to do too. So we're on the same wavelength for sure.
So you guys are actually making adjustments as well, even though
for sure. And that's the thing. And I really believe this. I believe the adjustments need to be made on both sides, right? We have stuff we could do better. I believe we can do things better. I don't think he can do things better because there's one. It's basically, essentially, it's one or the other. He's either going to say, okay, I got to box better, I got to move more, I got to be slicker. Well, he moved too much the first time, and that's why he lost, because you can't win the undisputed title being on the run. You know, you gotta engage, right?
Yeah.
So he can't move more. That's out of the question. But by the same token, he doesn't want to punch more. He doesn't want to trade punches. He doesn't want to become a banger, you know, because he didn't hurt Arthur, and Arthur obviously, no matter what he says, he could say, "Oh, Arthur never hurt me." I go, "Yeah, but." You know, you were on the run quite a bit. So either he did hurt you and that's why you're on the run, or you felt the potential to be hurt and you got on the run. But either way, you don't run that much fighting someone that you're not leery of. You know what I mean? If I fight a 10-year-old kid, I'm not going to get on my toes and box and move. You know what I mean?
What's the difference, or how big of a difference is it when you fight a fighter the second time around? Clearly, when you fight the first time, you don't really know you can't gauge his power. You can't gauge how fast he is. There are tendencies that you don't do. But the second time around, how much different is it, or is it not different at all?
Well, you know, it depends on the guy, right? Because there's so many different things that could happen. You know what I mean? Like you know, you're fighting a guy, and like I said, he may have fought Arthur, right? And he fought Arthur, and he got away. He moved a lot, and he didn't feel the power, like the flush power, right? So he felt strength, but he didn't feel the flush power. Now, as time goes on, he might say to himself, Arthur didn't hit as hard as I thought he was going to. You know, maybe I'm a good fighter. Maybe I could trade a little bit. But then you get in there, and you slow down a little bit more than you did the first time, and now you give Arthur that opportunity to hit you with the punch that he wanted to hit you with the first time. So now you're like, man, this guy's punching harder than he did last time. And it's like, no, he's not punching harder. It's just you're giving him more opportunities because you're more confident based on the first fight. So it's a tricky thing. You know, you can't get overconfident based on things like that. You can't be underconfident. You know, every fight's a new fight. It's a new day.
Psychologically, though, coming off of a loss, right?
Yeah.
How difficult is to kind of especially he believes he won the fight. He feels like it was close. How difficult is it mentally to prepare yourself? Like, you thought you did enough, you didn't do enough. I mean, mentally, how do you get back to? Because everybody says boxing is like 90% mental. How do you get back into that frame of I'm unbeatable, I can do everything? Because now there's a doubt. Now you've tasted the loss, so it's a little different now.
Yeah. I mean, it is a psychological game, 100%. And he's got an uphill battle because he's never lost before. And even if, like, in your mind you're saying, you go back and forth, right? Now let's say it was me. Say it was my first loss. Now I'm fighting the guy again. I say, man, I gotta beat him. I gotta even the score. And it's like, yeah, but even if I beat him, I still lost the first time. I'm still not undefeated. It's like a mind game.
Yeah.
And but I expect him to come out and obviously absolutely do his very best and come up with a different game plan, because he's a champion. He's a smart fighter. The fight was razor close. He knows that he has to adjust. He can't do what he did. Obviously you can't win undisputed against Arthur if you're on the run, if you're moving too much. Because there was times in that fight where I was in the corner and I'm almost like, man, this freaking guy, like, he's running, he's moving, he's just moving so much. Like, the people don't want to see that. I appreciate great boxing, I really do. But there comes a point when it's just like, all right, it's just avoidance at this point. You're just trying to avoid action. And I think the judges know the difference between that.
Now, you said something that was interesting. You said it was razor sharp. It was razor close, right? Now, of course, it's not going to be the same judges. It's not going to be the same ref.
Right.
So, Arthur, as an individual, does he go in there feeling like, I can't do the same thing I did? I have to do more, because these are three different sets of eyes now that are seeing it. They may see it a different way.
Right. Yeah. Well, he's focused on doing more for sure. But it's all within the technique of doing more. You're doing more because you have better technique and you're able to do more. Like a guy, if a regular guy fought Bivol again and said, I'm going to throw more punches this time, I'm going to be more aggressive. Well, the same thing would happen. Bivol would be boxing and you still wouldn't be able to hit him just because you want to. You have to know how to counter that, and that's where the adjustments come in. And like I say, I'll circle back to the fact that I believe adjustments need to be made on both sides, but we are the ones who have a better chance of actually doing that.